Hi, my name is Agnieszka Kitkowska. I'm from Karlstad University. I'll be talking about our paper, which we titled Enhancing Privacy for the Visual Design of Privacy Notices, Exploring the Interplay of Curiosity, Control, and Effect. And this is work which I've done together with Mark Werner from Northumbria University, Yefim Shulman from Tel Aviv University, and my colleagues from Karlstad, Erik, Wästlund, and Leonardo Martucci. What motivated our work mainly was the fact that privacy notices are still a little bit cumbersome. Well, we have to, anytime when we're signing up for the new application or new system, we must acknowledge the privacy notices. However, we usually don't have any choice, apart from the fact that we even agree or disagree with them, and then don't use application. And further, they are still being difficult to understand, and they are being perceived as something lengthy and, maybe legally in language that would take us forever to read. On the other hand, the second motivator for this work was the fact how people make their decisions in general and how they make them around the privacy. And past research shows that many other factors are influencing how we make decisions. This could be psychological factors related to our beliefs or our individual characteristics or demographics. On the other hand, there may be also some sort of external factors, such as the way the information is presented to us, so this visual stimuli or haptic stimuli or audio sounds. So these were two main motivators that kind of driven us to this particular research. So our research questions are divided into two groups, we can say. In the first group, we have questions around the visual design, and particularly we were interested in the effects of framing and providing people with control, and whether it is having any effect on affective state. And here by affective state, we mean the either positive or negative balance. So this kind of positive or negative feeling that people might have. Whether framing and control can influence privacy comprehension, and do they have an impact on intention to disclose information. In the second group of our research questions, we asked about more psychological factors. So particularly we were interested in the curiosity, which is like a driver in general of human development. And we were wondering whether curiosity has any effect on comprehension, or whether affective state has any role in the attitude-behavior relationship. And in this particular context, we are looking at the attitudinal factors such as trust and privacy concerns and behavioral outcome as information disclosure. To answer those research questions, we decided to design an online experiment. We've managed to gather information from over 600 participants, 620 participants, and we used the between subject design. Particularly, we had 3 independent variables. 2 of them were manipulated, and that was framing and control, and 1 of them was not manipulated. We measured it with a use of standard scale, and that was curiosity. Just to emphasize that by framing here, we mean the text of policy was the same throughout all our groups, but we did have groups that contained text accompanied with the anthropomorphic figures that had like kind of comic style design with some text that they were actually showing too or emphasizing, and that was the either positive or negative framing. And by control, we mean that some of the control groups contained switches next to the certain parts of privacy policy text where they could decide whether they would like to share certain information or not. In our dependent variables, as you can presume from my description of research questions, were the effects, so the positive or negative balance, intention to disclose information, privacy comprehension, and as a covariates in our model, we used the psychological factors, so particularly privacy concerns and trust, but we also added the time spent on the page that was displaying policy, because we believe that the time is usually a crucial factor, especially when it comes to comprehension. So how the study exactly looked like? Well, we had 4 main stages of the experiment. After participants were assigned to the survey or online experiment, they were then asked to signed the consent, of course, and assigned to the first part of the experiment, which was this standard entry questionnaires, in which we asked them about their curiosity using the standard scale from Kazhdan. And first, we took the first measurement of the affective state. In the second part, we introduced them to the scenario that they are signing up for a well-being application, and we will ask them to fill in the sign-up form. However, we will not collect any data from them, and then they've been exposed to the sign-up form and a prompt with a privacy notice that they have to agree to it before they will proceed to the application. And after that interactive task stage, we then measured the outcome variables. So we took the second measurement of the affective state. We took the second measurement because we wanted to make sure that the stimuli, the privacy notice, actually included, actually elicited some sort of affective state. And then we also measured information disclosure and comprehension. Now, comprehension we measured with our own kind of instrument. These were questions related to the privacy notice, to the information that is in the privacy notice. And we asked participants to say whether they think that it was true, not true, or they maybe they don't know, they don't remember. And we included these questions about don't know, don't remember, mainly to make sure that they are not being forced to guess. So to reduce this guessing opportunity. And then we had our exit questionnaires, in which we again use standard scales from Alcotra to measure privacy concerns and trust, and we asked some basic demographic questions. So this is how the experiment actually looked like for the participants. To analyze the data, we use different statistical methods. So first, to analyze the effects on comprehension, we use the univariate analysis of covariance with independent variables as always the same. We never change them, so framing, control, curiosity. And as covariates, we use time spent on the policy page, post-stimulus balance, so this effect measured after they were exposed to the privacy notice, concerns, and trust. In terms of the measurement of effects on affect and intention to disclose, we used multivariate analysis of covariates. So we used this affect and intention to disclose in a model as two joint dependent variables. And the whole model looked exactly the same as the univariate analysis of covariance, with the variables exactly the same. However, with one small change, as a covariate, we used a pre-stimulus valence. So basically, we're ensuring that the first measurement of effect is being controlled for. However, the valence is actually the outcome variable in this instance. In terms of the role of effect in attitude-behavior relationship, we actually used mediation and moderation. So first, we had to establish whether there is a mediation effect between trust and intention to disclose by privacy concerns. And then the second part was the moderated mediation. So we were interested particularly whether valence will have any effect on either the first path of the model, so of the mediation model between trust and privacy concerns, or on the second path of the model, so, or rather third, so basically between privacy concerns and intention to disclose. And just to make sure here, before I will talk about the results, I already mentioned that our findings were found on this first half, so it's going to be here A2. So results, what did we find here? Well, first of all, in relation to the control, we identified that indeed control, providing people with control has an impact on balance. That groups with control scored higher, perceived this more positively. Interaction effect that we found was small, but also on balance, related to the control and curiosity. So basically people provided with control and scoring higher in curiosity tended to have higher scores in balance. We also looked at groups provided with control only, so not looking at the people who did not have this option. And we identified that actually people who were changing their settings scored higher in comprehension of the privacy notice, and they were also expressing lower intention to disclose information. In terms of framing, we did not identify any framing effects. However, the time was found to be a very significant covariate, and it actually had the largest effect size of all variables, suggesting that it is particularly important. In terms of the psychological factors, we found that indeed curiosity has an impact on privacy comprehension. So people who are more curious scored higher in the comprehension, and also that the stable factors such as these privacy concerns and trust actually predict our outcome variables significantly, suggesting that the stable factors, that this predefined people beliefs actually are much more important, perhaps more important than the actual design. On the other hand, moderated mediation suggested that indeed there is a mediating relationship between trust and information disclosure, and this mediator is privacy concern. And this relationship is moderated in the first path by valence. So meaning that the lower the valence among our participants, the lower the trust and higher concerns. And with an increase of valence, this trust is becoming higher, and therefore the privacy concerns are becoming slightly lower. So what does it tell us? What have we learned? Well, first of all, we believe that providing people with control is definitely perceived positively. And this is important for usability, mainly because making people feel more pleased or more happy with a particular design may increase their levels of satisfaction, and satisfaction, as we know, is one of the many elements of usability. However, it's important and it's engaging people to stay in and interact with something that it is actually pleasant. On the other hand, we have a little bit of contradictory result there, because our valence scores suggest that there is a moderation effect between trust and privacy concerns, and it may actually affect disclosure indirectly. And therefore, when we're designing user interfaces that's supposed to elicit certain emotional effect, we have to be careful to not make something overly positive, because that may indeed turn against us, and we may end up with perhaps privacy design that will diminish the privacy concerns to that level that people will disclose more information. And lastly, privacy user interfaces, we think we provide a small evidence here that they really should be more engaging, perhaps involving curiosity, enhancing curiosity. And that some of the user interfaces, such as, I don't know, gradual designs that were proposed actually in the past, or even like interactive elements where people can interact with them, will eventually increase the time spent on policy and perhaps improve privacy comprehension. What we still believe has to be done is the fact that our study should be replicated, mainly because we should test it in different contexts, and also ensure that the effect sizes are actually meaningful. We have nothing really to compare it with. A lot of studies in the past research that were dealing with similar designs in some ways did not even provide effect sizes, so it's difficult to estimate whether these are meaningful or not meaningful results. On the other hand, we believe that there is a need to use of different methods, especially when it comes to measuring affective state. And ideally, it would be perfect to design studies that measure not only the self-reported effect, but also some physiological responses, whether it is the galvanic skin reaction, or for instance, the dry electroencephalography, the EEG instruments, which are now not requiring wiring, not requiring a lot of watering, so can be actually implemented in the lab studies easily. And with that, I would like to thank you for listening, and I hope you enjoyed the presentation. Thank you very much.